All right, guys, we need to talk about why flipping sports cards is coming to a screeching halt and honestly could be on a downward spiral to something that may be, I don't want to say non-existent because I think that's very extreme. There's always going to be some kind of flipping to a degree, but it is going to be not what we're now used to as we're really making a turn here in the hobby, especially as we get closer to the new year and we wrap up this year. And I've mentioned a few times now on several different outlets that, you can't really flip. Where's the hype? Who are we buying? Who are we selling? Da 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 da. But in this video, I really want to hammer home the point that where's the buzz in sports cards? We talked about football before with Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. Obviously, how about the failures of Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance, Mac Jones in this hobby specifically? However, I want to talk about baseball this time, and it is someone that a lot of people were heavily invested in, maybe still invested in, buying and selling is the talk of town, and that is Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop for the Kansas City Royals. He was a top prospect for from 2020 to 2021, and he made the opening day roster in 2022, and he was the talk of town. Now, guys, before you click away off of this video, please just listen to the whole thing, watch the whole thing, because it is going to be very, very eye-opening. I promise you that. Now, back in 2022, him, Bobby Witt Jr., and Julio Rodriguez were the top prospects in baseball. They were the ones that everybody was talking about. Everyone was buying them, selling them, trading them, and investing in them, right? And he had a really, really good rookie season. Then in 2023, he has a step down kind of a season. I don't want to say a setback season, but he had a kind of a down season. So did Julio, except with Julio, he had the home run derby that really kind of ignited his season, whereas Bobby Witt Jr. didn't really have that that year, I should say. But in 2024, when all the buzz is off of Bobby Witt Jr., nobody's talking about him. It's all about Paul Skeens. It's all about Jackson Holliday, right? I know you guys listening can agree. That makes sense. Bobby Witt Jr. had arguably one of the best seasons of all time, especially in the last 10, 20 years, and maybe for a Kansas City Royal ever. Maybe one of the best seasons a shortstop has ever had, maybe with the exception of a few MVP seasons from other players in years past. But here is a little snippet from MLB.com, talking about how Bobby Witt Jr. is an MVP finalist, a finalist for the American League. Bobby Witt Jr. hit 30 home runs and stole 49 bases in 2023. Yet somehow he had an even better season in 2024. Imagine that, a down season for Bobby Witt Jr., 30 home runs and 49 stolen bases, just because I do believe he had a little injury that year. He did have a really bad stretch, but 30 home runs, 49 stolen bases. If he put those numbers up his rookie season in 2022, he would be the talk of town. Jackson Holiday, right? Jackson Holiday. No one would be talking about him. Everyone would be talking about him because he's a top prospect like Wemby who panned out their rookie season. Now, he didn't put up these numbers his rookie season, but he had a really good rookie season. But at the beginning of the video, I said he had a down season. And when I say he had a down season, you look at a big picture. No, he did not. But in terms of the hobby, and, a couple stretches here and there, yeah, because no one's talking about him. This hobby in the flipping aspect, the investing aspect, is around buzz. Who are we talking about right now? And honestly, we should have been talking about Bobby Witt Jr. this whole time, but this is where the hobby in its flipping whatever is really taking a downward trend, is because this is what we want our top prospects to do. We want them to come into the major leagues and have a killer season. Bobby Witt Jr. did that twice. 3 times, actually, if you count this past year, which I'm going to get into in just a moment. But nobody is talking about him because he's old news, and we're on to the next flavor of the month. The superstar shortstop who turned 24 in June had an MVP caliber campaign, ultimately getting named as one of the 3 AL MVP finalists, which Aaron Judge ended up winning, but he was still a finalist. He led the majors with a .332 batting average and 211 hits while belting 32 home runs and swiping 31 bases, so he had a 30-30 season. He also won his first career Gold Glove award. Witt became the 3rd player in Royals history to have back-to-back 25-25 seasons, 25 home runs, and 25 stolen bases. Also Bo Jackson in 88 and 89, and Carlos Beltran in 2002 and 2003. But that's not the only way in which Witt made franchise history in 2024. He eclipsed franchise icon and Hall of Famer George Brett for the highest single-season Fangraphs WAR. I don't care about WAR, but I know a lot of people do. 10.4. George Brett had 9.1 in 1980. All right. So hopefully you guys are filled in a little bit on kind of what's going on with Bobby Witt and why he is such a great talking point. And for those that have been in the hobby for the past couple of years, you will remember the hype that Bobby Witt Jr. had. His Bowman Chrome First base cards were selling for crazy money. $20, $30, $40, $50. And I kind of want to pull over, let's talk about Card Ladder real quick. Let me pull it up. And Card Ladder is showing you that over the course of, what is this, 3 months, right? Yeah, 3 months. He is down 44%. You can't even see me. I'm looking at the camera. You can't even see me. He is down 44% with a real dollar change of minus $55. Back in September, this was a $125 card. Still looking at the camera. No one's there. A peak of $149.99 October 5th. And then it just kind of went all the way down to where it's currently sitting at $69.99. This card right here, $70. 3 months ago when baseball season was still going on, it was a $125 card. During the beginning of the playoffs, it was a $150 card. Now, this is a beautiful example. Now, I know there's a lot of volatility in this card, the pop of almost 3,000. It's a base card. However, it's still a 10 of a former top prospect and one of, if not the best shortstops in all of baseball. I know Gunnar Henderson will have a claim to pitch in that, or maybe Jackson Holiday, maybe in a year or two. However, right now, Bobby Witt Jr., again, maybe Gunnar Henderson, is the best shortstop in baseball. He was the cream of the crop in terms of people buying, selling, trading, and investing and flipping. Why? He is doing exactly what we want. I can come back now. Hold on. He is doing exactly what we wanted him to do. Have a great minor league career. Become a top prospect. Get called up to the big leagues and have a successful early career. He's doing exactly what we want. But he's not yielding the dollars that flippers and investors and buyers, expected. Why? Of course, we can blame the economy. Of course, we can blame the natural trajectory of this hobby over the last couple of years going down. Sure, those are all great. But this is the problem that people are having in this hobby. Why you shouldn't be focusing on flipping is because this player right here, Bobby Witt Jr., is doing exactly what we want, like I'm preaching this whole video. And there is still nothing, no reward, no monetary reward to show for it. Might you be able to buy it for 70 and flip it for 80 next week? Sure. But from an investing standpoint or a holding, then flipping standpoint, there's nothing to show for it. Now, before I get any further, it's important to mention not only does the economy play a factor, the natural trajectory of cards play a factor. We're moving on to the next thing. We hype something up, and then something new comes out, so we sell what's now old to go buy something new. This is a prime example with Pokemon. It's a prime example with as more and more products come out, like Score, prestige-based cards for rookie quarterbacks are like the hot thing, and the next thing you know, Prism comes out. Everyone's selling the Score and the prestige to go buy Prism. We get the point. But another thing to mention here is, of course, the off-season for sports. It is a prime time. Yeah, that makes sense. For cards to just go down no matter what happens. I don't know what the market for Judge or Ohtani look like after winning MVP because they actually won the award. But I'm definitely going to look at it right after I make this point here. But of course, we do need to acknowledge that cards will kind of dip down in the offseason. So I wanted to bring up a big card since, some of your big time investors might not want Bowman Chrome First, whatever. They want a nice autograph, right, of a card. Well, we can still see that the rate of growth is still down 20% for a real dollar change of $308 in the red. We want black numbers. We do not want red numbers. And back in September, it was $1,500. It peaked at $1,650 on October 1st, just as the playoffs started. And then November 19th, just a couple of weeks ago, $1,225. Now, of course, from $1,500 to $1,650 to $1,225 percentage-wise, And real dollar change wise, that's a pretty significant dip if you ask me. And this is a card with a lot lower of a pop compared to the Bowman base at almost 2,900. This one only has 290. And we're still seeing a significant dip. Now, we could honestly probably pop of 120. It started at 2,350, goes up to 3,700, just about 3,700. And then come the playoffs, it goes down and it's trickling back up to where the last currently sold at 2,600. Now, yeah, sure, it's in the green here, up 10%, up $250. But let's ask ourselves this question. Are you buying a card for $2,350 to just sell it for $2,600 and reap a reward of $250 at 10% growth? Yeah, trust me. Listen, hold on. Let me bring the camera back real quick. Of course, we want positivity. We want positive returns. So we will absolutely take this compared to anything in the negative, anything in the red. But at that high price tag, at $2,350, $2,350, to sell it in a month or two for 10% for $250, is it really worth the risk and investment? Especially when a month later, let's see, it was September 16th, a month later, it dipped hard. Now, if you were able to sell it at 3,700, all the power to you. And this is just a perfect example of how you're able to quick flip in this hobby. You are able to make quick flips in this hobby. Not even a week went by and you were able to buy it for $2,350 and sell it for $3,700. Not even a week goes by. But if you held it for that long-term investment, or because you're a long-term investor, or maybe you even bought it at $3,700 hoping to maybe sell it for $4,500 or $5,000, well, hate to tell you, it went down to $2,000. So timing is everything in this situation. And even if you bought it at $3,700 and you sold it at $2,600, that's minus $1,000 right there. So even the player who had a fantastic season, a historic season for that matter, a player that is literally doing what we want him to do, similar to Wembanyama in basketball, and I'm not going to compare apples and oranges here, but Wemby, hyped up prospect, where he's doing exactly what we want him to do. Play well, dominate, look good. Cards are expensive. They're selling for big money. But Bobby Wood Jr. is doing the exact same thing, just not on a freakishly level like Wembanyama is doing. And we're seeing absolutely nothing from the Bobby Wood Jr. market. Now, is that maybe the fact that baseball is a tertiary market behind football and basketball? Well, I'd sit here and argue that football cards aren't doing crazy numbers. I would say the same thing about basketball cards not doing crazy good numbers. I mean, there's no 24, 25 basketball products on the market right now, and we just crossed over to December. The basketball season's like a quarter of the way through, and we have no Prism, no Mosaic, no nothing. I think Donruss isn't even out yet. If not, by the time you're seeing this video, maybe it is coming out. I'm not exactly sure. But like, this all circles back to one of my big points that I've made several times on videos, on podcasts, and here at the shop. Buy who you like. And I really do think we're seeing a massive turn for the better in this hobby of people becoming more collectors. They are being more smart with their money, more strategic with their dollars, in buying cards that they like and not cards that people are telling them to buy from other influencers online. I don't consider myself an influencer. I'm not telling you who to buy. Have I made those videos in the past? Sure, back when investing or buying and selling and flipping cards were actually a real prominent factor in the hobby, whereas now in 2024, going into 2025, not so much the case, unfortunately. So hopefully you guys were able to kind of take a thing or two away from this ranting, educational, eye-opening video, I hope. And I really do hope that something can be learned from the fact that flipping is becoming a thing of the past. Now, you'll always be able to buy a card and sell it for more. You'll always be able to buy a card and sell it for less. But the nature of flipping that we've grown accustomed to, that you see online from people's YouTube videos where they go to shows, buy for 10 grand, they sell for 15 grand, it's just something that a lot of people around here specifically don't do. And again, you're going to sell it for $1,000, yes, but are you going to go hold it and sell it for a couple months to sell it for $200? especially when you're talking $1,000. I just don't think the risk is worth the reward. So it's we're in an interesting spot right now. I do think we are entering a new age of a collector's renaissance, which I absolutely love. And I definitely want to make more videos about how collecting is becoming a bigger and bigger factor in this hobby, as flipping is kind of becoming a thing of the past, like I already mentioned. But that will wrap it up for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. If you got to this point, please smash the thumbs up button. Comment down below, what was your favorite part? What is something you agree with me? What's something that you disagree with me on? And I definitely want to know about that, because I want to have a conversation with you guys down in the comment section. But like I said, that will wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please press all the buttons, like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the channel membership program. I've queued up an excellent video right here for you guys that I do believe is going to be excellent for your hobby endeavors. Hopefully, I'll see you in that one.